Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello there. And thank you so much for joining me this video. I hope you are having a wonderful day slash evening slash night. Whatever time it may be for you, I hope it is lovely. Please feel free to let me know how you're doing in the comments down below. Yes, you listening to this, I'd love to know how you are. I would like to introduce you to this new Minecraft world I am starting. I would like to call this world ASMRcraft, Phaedrus's ASMRcraft, because I intend on it being a long-term series. Videos of me primarily just doing soft-spoken and whispered commentary over a long play series of modded Minecraft. But with that being said, there won't be no talking versions of each video linked in the description below. Because I understand that sometimes people are, just looking for Minecraft sounds. They don't want the commentary. And I can fully respect that. As I mentioned before, this is a modded save. So I created this mod pack myself. I installed 53 mods. No, wait. 54 mods. 55 maybe. Primarily farming mods. I have a right click to harvest mod, which provides you experience points. I always felt like farming should give you a little bit of experience, so I am excited for that little gameplay mechanic change. I also have Farmer's Delight and Farmer's Delight add-ons. I have Croptopia, and I have a Farmer's Delight Croptopia compatibility mod. So hopefully every recipe will work. I also have some mods for mobs. I have some mob mods. Primarily Alex's mobs, which adds a bunch of animals, both real and fictitious. We have Aquaculture 2, which introduces a bunch of fish and some more gameplay mechanics to fishing, like different tier fishing rods, fishing hooks, fishing bait, tackle boxes. It's a lot of fun. And then we have long wings. We have long wings, which is a mod that adds butterflies and moths and like bug nets, so you can catch them and you can put them in jars, which I don't know how humane that is exactly, but it makes for some nice decor in Minecraft. We also have some world generation mods, such as Biomes O' Plenty, which adds a bunch of new biomes for you to explore. we have Terralith, which kind of just beefs up the game's world generation in general, the facade of the lands, the contour, stuff like that. And then we have Choice Theorem's Overhauled Villages, which introduces new, redesigned villages. I think they're very pretty, and the mod also makes them a little bit OP if you raid all the chests. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I don't mind. We also have some building mods, primarily those by Starfish Studios, such as Building But Better, Earthen Dome, and another furniture mod. And finally, we have the miscellaneous mods that don't really fit into any other category. In this one, we got chimes, which just adds chimes to Minecraft. That's literally all it is, like wind chimes. But they sound very, very nice, which I thought would be perfect for an ASMRcraft type of series. And then we have Ambient Sounds 6 and Sound Physics Remastered. So hopefully we will be getting a very nice auditory experience in game. More reverberations and echoes and sound absorption, as well as hearing birds and crickets chirp as you traverse across the world. It is very, very lovely. Very, very nice. Though I may have to turn off the ambiance every time I go down into the caves, because there is no reason for the underground ambiance to be so, what's the word? Eerie. We also have Journey Map, which is a mapping mod. I will try not to overuse it. I even have the mini-map disabled. But it does come in handy sometimes, I cannot lie. In general, if you have any questions about the mods, please feel free to ask in the comments down below. Note, also, this world is on peaceful mode. This world is on peaceful mode, so you won't have to worry about any sort of jump scares, scary monsters, nothing like that. So, what are my plans for this world? Well, if you couldn't tell by the mod list, I'm just going for a sort of cozy, low-key type of experience. Not rushing along, not making mob or material farms, nothing like that. I don't even know if I'll beat the Ender Dragon, honestly. I might if I get a lot of requests to do so, but otherwise, I just want to make a cozy sort of town. Lots of building, lots of mining, lots of farming. And it doesn't make the most sense to make a town in a single player world. But I do love the sounds of building. And I love building, and I love gathering resources for building. So I just think a town would lend itself well to the ASMR format. So, for example, I would like to build a town hall. I would like to build a town hall. Because what town is complete without a town hall? And speaking of buildings a town wouldn't be complete without, I also would like to make a post office. I would like to make a library. I would like to make a blacksmith and a fishery, a restaurant, just anything that aligns itself with, a feature of Minecraft, like a stonemason, kind of like the professions you'd find in a village. And of course, I was also thinking of building some viewer suggestions. So if there's anything you would like me to include in this world, if there is anything you would like to see me build or do, please do let me know, and I will see if I can get it done. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves though. Before we do any of that, I would like to make a little starter compound. Not so much a base, more so buildings and structures that I will need spattered about across a small area. I like to travel in the outdoors. I like to get some of the ambiance. It just feels nice to have a whole sort of area to yourself rather than just a single building. So I would like to make the main house, which we have plenty of furniture mods, plenty of building mods. We can make it real nice and cozy. I would like to build a storage area. I might put it in the basement of the house, but I might also make it in a separate building. And if I do that, I would make said building a workshop. A workshop. Complete with all of the crafting blocks I may need. I will also make a farm. And I have, again, some farming mods on here. So we'll be able to plant a lot of crops. It'll be very, very satisfying. The only problem is that, we're on peaceful mode. So there's no real use for food. But that is okay because we can enjoy the food for the sake of indulging in the act of creation. I would also like to make a strip mine. And as well as a strip mine, I would like to make a barn. A little stable for keeping animals. Because we will need plenty of leather, maybe, probably. We'll need wool. We'll need a horse for some exploration, which is the last real thing I want to accomplish with this world. I would love to just explore the world. Maybe a little goal of ours can be making a map wall. A wall of maps. And once again, we have terraliths. We have biomes of plenty. So the world exploration is actually quite nice and very scenic. So now I'd like to discuss a bit about why I made this channel. And granted, I already went into this a little bit on my first video. But for any newcomers to the channel, I would like a brief recap. And I would also like to elaborate a little more on certain points. of all, I have a very sincere connection to Minecraft. I am 20 years old. I am part of Gen Z. And I feel like the one thing most of Gen Z has in common is that most of us have grown up on Minecraft, and most of us love the game. Personally, my brother introduced me to Minecraft when I was about 5 years old, somewhere around there. And back in the day, I would play the classic mode. It was in browser, if I recall, and there was a multiplayer mode, which I played a lot. It had just all the classic blocks. There was no health, there was no monsters. It was just a building game. It was basically perma-creative, except you couldn't fly like you can in creative mode nowadays. Unless the server you were logged into had this command that you could run. It was /fly, and it would just generate a little floor of glass underneath you. So you could jump and gain some vertical height. We ended up actually buying the game for the family laptop in either 2010 or 2011, and I remember the first base I ever made was made out of sand, except for the roof, for obvious reasons. The roof was made of glass. And then my old family laptop stopped working, so I had to get Minecraft 360 edition for the Xbox 360. And I remember when I was in elementary school, my uncle would wake me up an hour early, specifically so that we could play Minecraft together on the Xbox 360. And I grew up and I got my own computer. So I got my own copy of Minecraft, Java Edition, and Bedrock Edition. And I have played intermittently ever since. Let it be said, I prefer Java Edition. Sorry, Bedrock fans. I also have a personal connection to ASMR. I already stated this in my first video, but I have listened to ASMR for a decade now, and that is half of my life. A decade would be half of my life, and I listen to it almost every single night for the past 10 years. The past 10 years. It never fails to help me calm down when I am feeling anxious or blue. Anxious or blue. So, why not combine the two? It is an underrated niche on social media. There is surprisingly little Minecraft ASMR content on YouTube and on TikTok. So I figured, be the change you want to see in the world. I decided I would take the plunge myself and make some Minecraft ASMR because I know it's the content that I would want to watch. also been fiddling around with some of the mixing and the mastering in post-production for all of my audios. And I am also working on figuring out how to balance the audio levels between my voice slash ASMR and the Minecraft gameplay. And on another semi-related note, if you ever have any trigger requests in general, or suggestions, I am more than happy to hear them out. Please just let me know. So, have any of you read any good books recently? I'm one of those freaks who reads multiple books at the same time. So I have 3 books that I am currently reading. 2 fiction and 1 non-fiction. One of the books I am reading is Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert M. Piersick. And it is a very good book. Lovely imagery, lovely descriptions. It's basically a philosophy book disguised as a cross-country road trip narrative on motorcycle, obviously. I am also reading We All Fall Down by Nick Sheff. It is a sequel to his book Tweak, and Tweak and We All Fall Down are both memoirs. I do love me a good memoir, and I'm not very far into We All Fall Down, but it's more of an elaboration on the first book and the themes that explores of dealing with recovery from addiction and tackling mental health problems. I am also reading The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I mentioned this book also in my first video, but it is a creativity self-help book structured as a 12-week course. This book is what inspired me to start this ASMR channel. So I have a lot to be thankful for towards it. Even if I've been slacking on my tasks these past few days. After I finish these books, I have a couple on my to-read list. I already have all of these books in person. It is just a matter of getting around to them. The first 2 books I would like to read are both by Jack Kerouac, who I have heard some good things about and some bad things, but I suppose I will ultimately be the judge on my personal experience with his works. There are 2 books of his that I would like to read: Desolation Angels and On the Road. I don't know very much about either story, so I would be going in blind, which is always a fun way to go into a book. I would also like to read The Glass Castle by Jeanette Wells. It is another some unpleasant and problematic elements, which I won't get too into here because we are trying to relax right now. However, it does contain beautiful descriptions using vibrant and immersive language. I really like Sing Unburied Sing by Jasmine Ward. I read it for a class assignment in senior year of high school, and it is just a very potent representation of so many different facets of life. It is an incredibly real book. It's also another road trip plot. Are you seeing a pattern yet? The last favorite book I will get into for now is Tweak by Nick Sheff. I mentioned this book earlier while discussing one of the books I'm reading right now. This is the first book in the series preceding We All Fall Down. It is yet another memoir and is actually, it has a companion piece written by Chef's father, and that book is called Beautiful Boy. Now, if that title sounds familiar, not only is it a song by one of the Beatles, I'm forgetting which one, maybe John, either way, the father's book, as well as Tweak, were turned into a movie called Beautiful Boy, featuring Timothy Chalamet and Steve Carell. Speaking of movies, do you guys have any favorites there? My all-time favorite movie probably has to be Little Miss Sunshine. It is yet another road trip plot. I love my road trips and I love my memoirs, I guess. But Little Miss Sunshine has one of the most realistic portrayals I have seen of dysfunctional yet loving family dynamics. It is a very wonderful movie that I very highly recommend. Another movie I very much enjoy is called We're All Going to the World's Fair. We're all going to the World's Fair, which, fun fact, is the only movie I can think of that directly shows and brings up ASMR. It features a scene in which the protagonist watches an ASMR video. I think it was ASMR Darling, but I could be wrong. It has been a while since I have watched.